the years, Ocean Park has made great waves and left fond memories with its oceanic theme. However, with the impending threat of competitors in the landscape, how can Ocean Park aspire to become the world-class marine theme park? Good afternoon, everyone. We are Prism Consulting. My name is Shi Ying, and together with me are my colleagues Yan Lin, Jianwen, and Chihao. And today we'll be sharing with you the way forward for Ocean Park.
So let's first take a look at Ocean Park Corporation. Looking at its vision, it aims to become a world-class marine theme park. And in line with this vision, it has indeed achieved laudable success over the past few years. We see that it has recorded steady growth in attendance as seen from the increase in visitors over the past 5 years. It has also grown to become a popular tourist attraction locally in Hong Kong as well as regionally in Asia Pacific. However, as we look beyond the company to analyze the industrial landscape, we see that the tourism industry in Hong Kong is indeed presenting an optimistic outlook for us. However, as we further analyze this, we see that there is an intensifying competition within the region. So let's first take a look at the tourism industry in Hong Kong. We see that the strong growth in Hong Kong is actually optimistic, and the Chinese tourists are actually the key drivers of this industry. However, there is also an intense regional expansion within the region, particularly in China, where companies are looking to enter rapid expansion phases so as to cater to the increasing demand for the theme parks, for theme parks. As such, the key question that we have to answer today is how can Ocean Park continue to cement its position to be a world-class marine theme park? And what does it mean to actually be a world-class marine theme park? Our team has broken this down into 3 core aspects. Firstly, it will be to integrate fun with an educational experience, and following this, to complement this experience with a comprehensive and personalized retail and dining experience, and lastly, to solidify this entire experience with a world-class accommodation experience. And this will ultimately help to lengthen the consumer stay, ultimately turning their stay from a day in the park to a week in the park. And with this in mind, allow me to introduce to you our targets, where we aim to increase our visitorship in tandem with the increase in land capacity from our master redevelopment plan, and secondly, to increase the proportion of revenue derived from our retail and F&B sector. However, to achieve that target, there are a few considerations that we have to take into account. Firstly, how can we actually fully capitalize on our existing resources to enhance the Ocean Park experience that we are offering to our consumers? Currently, Ocean Park actually has 2 theme areas, namely the lowlands as well as the highlands, and they are connected by the cable car. As we zoom in to look at the headlands, we see that there's an area called Tai Shui Wan that is severely underutilized due to the topological constraints, and this is due to the dense vegetation and steep slopes of TSW, in short for Tai Shui Wan. This has resulted in limited activity access between TSW and the headlands. We see that there's also been plans to actually attempts to redevelop TSW. However, such plans have been aborted due to the concern that they actually would like to preserve this ecological asset. As such, the current function of TSW is mainly to provide access to the headlands via a series of long escalators, which cause it to be severely underutilized. Hence, we see that there is a need for us to be able to strike a sound balance between preserving the ecological asset and to redevelop the area so as to provide a seamless experience to consumers. And moving on, the second consideration that we have to take into account is how can we actually leverage on the revenue generating potential of the F&B and retail sector. Looking at the industrial trends in Hong Kong, we see that our consumers are spending more on areas like shopping as well as on hotel views and meals. But if we take a look on the left at our revenue mix, we see that most of our income are generated from our admission fees and less on retail and F&B. Hence, we see that this is a potential area that we can possibly tap on to increase our revenue. As such, the implication here is that we should enhance our retail and food and beverage sector so as to maximize our revenue potential from our consumers. With these 2 considerations in mind, allow me to introduce to you our 2-pronged strategy, which is to dive in and to make a splash. Dive-In focuses mainly on putting in place a redevelopment model that helps to integrate the ocean park experience while ensuring that we preserve our ecological asset. And secondly, Make a Splash focuses on strengthening our retail and F&B sector so as to provide consumers with a comprehensive consumer experience.
So, before our customers are able to dive into the new experiential experience, we have redeveloped 3 key areas in Ocean Park, which is basically the escalators leading up from the TSW area to the Ocean Park, as well as the landmass that is underutilized ever since it closed down due to the Middle Kingdom, and lastly, to connect the TSW area towards the Aberdeen region, in which there's increasing demand in tourism facilities. So, firstly, they say first impression counts, and in this aspect, Ocean Park faces the same issue. So, the entrance in TSW leads to this escalator, which brings all the customers up to Ocean Park itself, and it's 225 meters long and takes 2.5 minutes to get up to the top. But looking at it, even though this escalator is sheltered, it's actually not. The first impression people have is that it's not enough to make it a world-class facility. So, taking reference from Umeda Sky Tower's floating escalator, we see that there's a lot to be done in terms of the infrastructure of the escalator to make it a mark higher. And on top of that, we would like to include new features such as interactive platforms and touchpads along the escalators, so that when the customers are taking the escalators up to Ocean Park, they are able to engage themselves in educational services as well as to experience the whole Ocean Park, to have a better Ocean Park experience. So, it's not the large things that matter to make. It's not the large things that make a world-class to make Ocean Park a world-class attraction. It's the small things that count. And in this case, having an escalator that brings them up to the Ocean Park itself, it's a key to making it a world-class attraction. So moving on, we look at the terrain of TSW, which is basically full of steep slopes, which is very hard for them to construct new attractions in the region, as well as there's a dense forest, and this is the main ecological asset of the TSW terrain. Lastly, to operate any attraction or any rides in the region, it's unfeasible because of the extensive energy usage that needs to be done to keep up. And therefore, we decide that we should push for an eco-trail instead. And this eco-trail aligns directly with our current strategy for Ocean Park. And firstly, this is because it aligns with the mission of Ocean Park, which is to educate our customers in terms of the conservation efforts that we have. This also adds on towards the willingness to not sacrifice our ecological assets by allowing this eco-trail because this eco-trail will allow the customers to be able to experience the true nature of the whole forest. And lastly, this adds a different dimension to the whole entertainment industry, because instead of just rides, this is where the elderly and the children are able to go through experiential learning. And last but not least, it also caters towards the increasing demand for ecotourism, which is very prevalent, especially in the Chinese culture. So, with this, we present to you the Yin Yang Trail, which basically consists of 2 types of trails, starting from the Day Trail, which consists of a sheltered walkway that is built along the coastal areas, so that customers are able to view the coastal regions while walking towards the Fisherman Wharf, as well as information stands so that the children are able to learn about the historical background of this TSW region. Also, it consists of a night trail, in which when the customers travels through this trail at night, they are able to experience the illuminated path that is drawn from a case study that we did from Forest Illuma in Canada. And so this theme-based, this night trail also consists of theme-based activities such as Halloween, Chinese New Year, as well as Christmas, so that it keeps consumers constantly engaged throughout the year. And therefore, this Yin Yang Trail seeks to position itself not only as a world-class attraction that links people from Ocean Park all the way down to the Fisherman's Wharf, where the new hotel is being built. It also, So the last part of development that we have to focus on is actually the part where we connect Fisherman's Wharf, which is where the new hotel is going to be built, to Aberdeen Centre, where the traditional where it's deemed as the traditional fishing village of Hong Kong. And in this case, there are a lot of sampan there's a lot of traditional boat rides called sampans, as well as the Jumbo Seafood Restaurant, which is a floating restaurant that can house up to 20,000 diners every night. So Aberdeen is known in Hong Kong for its food and festivals, and this is important because by connecting Ocean Park Fisherman's Wharf towards this Aberdeen region, we're able to create an inflow of new tourists from that region as well. And as you can see, the famous restaurants that attracted up to 30 million visitors since its opening in 1976. And also there are a lot of festivities as well, festivities along the year, including Dragon Boat Festival, in which it will attract a large crowd every year. So, 3 reasons why we should build the Fisherman's Port, which is basically where all the sampans can come to Ocean Park's wharf, is basically to connect them to Aberdeen, as well as to provide a traditional experience for consumers as well. And this allows them to extend their journey, not just in entertainment rides that Ocean Park currently provides, but also the experiential learning and the journey that they can undertake. So, with these new attractions, the Stairway to Heaven, the Yin Yang Trail, as well as Fisherman's Port, we are able to ensure that the Ocean Park experiential journey is fully immersed. The consumer is able to fully immerse in this Ocean Park experiential journey.
And next, with this in mind, let me introduce you our next strategy, which is to make a splash in the lackluster F&B and retail segments in Ocean Park itself. So we can see at this point in time that based on our understanding of the Hong Kong tourism industry, that shopping and dining is the main propositions of Hong Kong as a tourism spot. And so we can see that actually Ocean Park can actually leverage on this to actually bring about greater revenue potential in the retail and F&B segments, and eventually push for a higher proportion of revenue deriving from these 2 segments. And as part of its MRP, we can see that OPC has actually planned for an increased number of restaurants and retail space by doubling it to almost like to 90,000 square feet. However, the success and appeal of these concepts depend on a few key considerations, which we will address in the following slides. Based on our understanding of the industry, we can also see that a significant proportion of the Hong Kong tourists that come inbound to Hong Kong are actually single travelers from mainland China itself, and this forms 30%. And so in order to appeal to this segment, Ocean Park can actually bring in popular local restaurants, as these are commonly featured on TripAdvisors, which will eventually form a part of the itinerary of free and easy travelers. And this can also allow them to spend a day in Ocean Park without missing out on Hong Kong's local delicacies. And so some of the tie-ups that we can have as shown here. So why would these popular restaurants want to be in Ocean Park? This mutually beneficial relationship actually allows them to benefit from the high visitorship in Ocean Park and the opportunity to be aligned with a world-class theme park. Moreover, Ocean Park can actually tie with this restaurant to come out with unique dishes which are only available exclusively at Ocean Park to actually draw customers to visit the park and the restaurants subsequently. And so, moving on to our retail strategy, we can see that the success of other theme parks is because of its strong licensing and branding of its characters. However, at Ocean Park, we do not have that due to our positioning to complement Disneyland as a competitor. Therefore, we will continue to pursue this strategy while providing a different retail strategy. So, as with the F&B strategy, we can actually bring in other established brands as a retail outlet for our tourists to visit. And in line with our world-class vision, we can establish local brands and local brands. And this can be integrated into the shopping experience as shown here. And the enhancement of the F&B and retail will actually better support the main attractions and allow the Ocean Park to become a one-stop leisure destination for tourists to come to.
Now that you have seen our recommendations, let's now take a look at the financials. Firstly, with our Ocean Park Experiential Journey program, we will now be able to increase visitorship to Ocean Park above and beyond the projected growth rate, 10-year visitorship projected growth rate of 4.78% to 5.83%. And with that, our F&B and retail segment can also better support the main attractions to allow OPC Ocean Park to become a one-stop leisure destination as a world-class marine theme park. Time's up. Okay, thank you.
Start with the first question. So you mentioned that you had several targets in the initial part of the presentation. How do you come up with such targets? What's the basis of them?
Right, so for our first target, right, basically through the case we understand that there's an increasing demand in terms of tourism, especially for China, and the whole industry itself is growing at a 4% rate, and therefore based on this we predict a 5% CAGR increase in terms of visitorship over the next 10 years. And for our second target, basically by increasing the proportion of revenue derived from retail and F&B, this is derived from our current breakdown, because 73% of our revenue actually comes from admission fee itself. And we did, in a case, it did set Ocean Park did set a target of hitting a 50% revenue from its admission fees and 25% from its food and beverage as well as retail. But we understand that shifting from 75% all the way, increasing our retail and F&B from a current 25% to 50% may be too much of a stretch within these 5 years. Therefore, we decided to take a conservative estimate of 35%, increasing it to 35% instead. And one reason of doing so is also because by setting this target, we ensure that we will be able to increase the customer lifetime value in terms of them staying within our ocean park and using all our facilities, as well as the retail, the new retail outlets and food F&B outlets as well, and not just a one-time admission fee and leaving the park.
Who's your target customer?
Our target customer is actually, because Ocean Park adopts a multi-segmentation strategy, so it's not like Disneyland whereby it targets mostly the younger generation or children who likes fantasies and stuff like that. So using our multi-segmentation approach, Ocean Park actually has a wide target audience from the young to the old. And this is also, this target is complemented by our experiential journey, which is our first recommendation, because we have a wide range of activities from thrill rides for the kids as well as nature walks, including Yin-Yang Trail for the adults as well. So with this wide target of audience, we are not competing head-on with Disneyland, which is our main competitor locally, but we are trying to complement them in the aspect where we cater to tastes and preferences of consumers who are seeking other forms of excitement and entertainment.
So I believe Raiden has actually given you an overview of our target audience in terms of age. So now I'll elaborate on our demographic target audience. So we understand that our target audience, about more than half of our tourists that goes to Ocean Park actually come from mainland China. And we see that increasing competition in China could actually pose a threat to our revenue. And so we see that this is an important segment of consumers that we definitely do not want to lose in the long run. So our strategies are geared towards encouraging consumption from the mainland Chinese. They're geared towards increasing consumption from the mainland Chinese. But in the long run, we're also looking at retaining consumers from other regions.
What aspect of your recommendation is tailored to China?
The second recommendation will actually be more tailored towards the Chinese. From the case details, they mentioned that around 55% of the inbound tourists to Hong Kong are from mainland China, and they actually spend a greater expenditure of their travel spending on shopping, around 70% higher than the worldwide average of 57%. So the increase of our shopping and F&B outlets will actually cater to the shopping spending habits of these Chinese tourists who will come and visit Ocean Park.
And to add on to what Kimberly has said, the building of the Yin-Yang Trail actually has a Chinese based on a Chinese heritage, and this is also because in China itself, ecotourism is increasingly highly demanded, and 50% of ocean parks, 50% of the ecotourism market is actually catered towards the Chinese tourists who come to Hong Kong itself. And therefore, by building the Yin Yang Trail, we hope to cater towards this increasing demand and towards the mainland Chinese tourists.
So in your presentation, you actually said this phrase, it's not the big things that matter, but the small things that does. Do you have any substantiation for this? What's the basis for making this statement for your recommendation?
This basis of my recommendation actually comes from how Michelin star restaurants are being reviewed. So it's not exactly like how well the food is being prepared, but really just the whole customer care as well as the experience that customer sits in the restaurant. And for example, if a knife is placed on the floor, how long does it take for the waiter to notice such things, as well as like whether the person prefers like red wine or how you match the wine to the meat. So drawing reference from this insight, we actually believe that any world-class attraction actually pays attention to every small detail in which it provides you want to surround the customer with this whole experience where you first step in, even though it's just an escalator, but by making the escalator like one of the world's like best escalators that they have been in terms of surrounding them with the interactive touchpads and things like that, we want them to feel like this is really a cut above from all the other attractions or theme parks that I've been to. So that's where we drew the reference in which every small thing matters if we want to be a world-class attraction.
You mentioned intensifying competition in the region. So how are you going to stand out among all these competitions?
Basically, our second recommendation will actually set us apart from our competitors, as our F&B and retail strategy is markedly different from how other theme parks do it. For example, other theme parks will actually operate their own F&B outlets, but we will instead bring in highly popular local brands and cuisines into the park itself, so that it can be like more of a congregational economy of scale to allow more customers to come in, and this will also allow us to see.
Yeah. So I think what Kimberly is trying to push for is actually Ocean Park will not be known as just a regular theme park in which you go there for amusement rides, but a place where people go to Ocean Park and experience like the full view of like Hong Kong itself within this demarcated area. And this is also from the F&B outlets that we intend to push for in terms of attracting those famous Hong Kong places such as Australian Dairy Farm or like Yi Tian Xing or various other recommended cuisines by tourist spots. And by doing so, we really want our customers to come in to Ocean Park and know that this place is, and not want to leave Ocean Park, because everything that we want in Hong Kong is actually within this theme park. And this is what we believe will make Ocean Park a cut different from other theme parks whereby they just provide the usual amusement parks and merchandises.
I'd like to understand, for people like current visitors to the park, what would their typical itinerary be? How long do they stay in Hong Kong? How much of the time stayed in Hong Kong is in the amusement park? And yes, maybe you can start with that.
Okay, so you're talking about tourists who just come to Hong Kong itself, right?
Yeah, who goes to your amusement park?
Or who already intends to come to our amusement park. Okay, so most of the average customer stay that tourists come is actually decreasing over the years, and now it's averaging at around 3.3 days, and most of them spend actually just a day in Ocean Park itself. But we are aiming to change this through the building of our hotels, the 3 hotels in the 3 different locations, which is part of our MRP, the redevelopment plan that we have. So, yeah, to address your question, basically, can you repeat your question?
Also, okay, to answer your question on how a typical tourist would actually plan his itinerary, we see that apart from visiting iconic amusement parks like Ocean Park, they also tend to go to try the local delicacies in Hong Kong around in restaurants, and also in terms of retail, they will go and walk around for shopping destinations. So what we're trying to do, like what Raina has mentioned, because of the decreasing number of stays in Ocean Park, what we're trying to do is to bring all these food destinations as well as retail outlets back to so that we can provide one-stop destination for everyone, so to increase the number of stays within Ocean Park.
Yeah, so I think that is my key concern, because if people are staying in Ocean Park for one day, they do that for the very reason of wanting to explore the different parts of Hong Kong, and also all the well-established shopping spots and also all the well-established eateries. So how sure are you that by just shifting all this and getting the branch outlets to be at your resort, it would actually attract them here? Because I'm assuming that if I were to stay at Ocean Park and extend my stay there, I would have to pay much more as compared to if I stay in mainland in terms of accommodation. What is the added value that you have compared to me just going down to Mount Cobb or the other areas to shop?
To answer your question, the added value actually come from the fact that all these main attractions and like local foods that they will like put on a to-go list on their itinerary will be conveniently found in Ocean Park itself, without the need to travel to far and distant places, which some of these eateries or outlets may be situated at. So since the average duration of their stays range is an average of around 3.3 days, you may not actually have the time to actually travel so far and visit all the places you want to visit. At Ocean Park, we can compress this journey into to let them try more flavors of Hong Kong at a one-stop destination, rather than having to spend more time in the country to travel around.
And if I may add on, when we further establish ourselves as a world-class theme park in Hong Kong, when actually tourists come over to Hong Kong and they want to plan an itinerary, they clearly understand that by coming to Ocean Theme Park, they not only can enjoy the rides that we have, they can also go for a trail in our CSW, and also with all the eateries and restaurants over there, you can understand that with all these things that we currently have in place, these are the main attractions of Hong Kong.
So I'd like to continue the question with regards to what you just mentioned. You mentioned that once people know that you are a world-class theme park, what do you think are the key factors that make you a world-class theme park? And are you already achieving that now?
To answer that question, I think firstly, currently what we're offering is just a world-class marine theme park, offering different kind of rides, adventure rides, right? So moving forward, that is why we're planning for our target to be the following. Firstly, we want to integrate a fun with educational experience to sort of give them the intangibles that they can have, and not just going there to have fun, but also to learn something. So when families go over there and they bring their kids there, they know that their kids not only have fun, they learn something over there as well. And moving forward, with the retail and dining experience, this will actually complement the entire journey they will have over at Ocean Park. Lastly, the world-class accommodation actually fits into the itinerary plan to stay over there when you go over for vacation. So what we want to do now is just not putting Ocean Park as a place where people just go there and then they play for one day and then they just leave the place. But rather, when you go over there, you not only play, you can learn, and you can enjoy, you can eat, you can shop, you can do everything that you want to do as a tourist over there.
And to add on to Charles' point, Ocean Park has been doing really well for the past few years. So compared to when Disneyland, when Hong Kong Disneyland first came up, it was actually a strong competitor towards Ocean Park. But through change in strategy, they actually managed to, by prioritizing their mission in terms of educating their guests about, by combining both entertainment and education, they actually rose up in ranks to become the top 4 tourist attraction in Hong Kong. Yeah, and I think this trend shows that the way that Ocean Park is heading towards is actually valid, and therefore we intend to ride on this increasing demand for both education and entertainment to develop our future plans and our diving strategy.
Do you see over-reliance of China visitors as an issue? And secondly, do you have any attractions in your park that will increase the repeated visitors?
So to clarify the first part of the question is basically increasing demand for Chinese tourists and
Yeah, like such a big bulk of China visitors being your target, is that do you think it's an issue? And secondly is which part of the park would be attractive for them to keep coming back?
Okay, so to answer the first part of the question, the increasing demand, because 55% of our revenue actually comes from mainland Chinese tourists, the fact that China is still growing, especially in 2008 where the whole economy is actually growing and China is developing further, I think it's a fair assumption to take that the Chinese market will continue to grow in the future. And given the sheer size and magnitude of the Chinese market itself, I do not think that it's a problem to rely on it fully. But of course, because we are aiming to make Ocean Park a global attraction. So we will definitely not focus mainly on China itself, but start to look at theme parks from around the world and try to adapt certain things that will appeal to the other tourists as well, including Japanese tourists as well as Korean tourists, which is increasing in demand as well. And this will ensure that we do not put all eggs in one basket, in which if the Chinese tourists decide to develop their own theme parks, which they are currently doing, we will not lose out as much in that sense. But to answer the second question, in which how do we attract Chinese tourists, we believe that the Chinese, because the purchasing power of Chinese is increasing, and the main bulk of Chinese are actually shopping. They actually spend their expenditure on shopping in Hong Kong, and that's where our second strategy aims to bring in retail outlets that have branded goods for these Chinese shoppers to come into Ocean Park and just decide to and to allow them to splurge within Ocean Park itself without having the need to travel to other factory outlets in Hong Kong. So with this, we believe that we are able to retain the Chinese market and at the same time not depend on them fully in that sense. Yeah.
If I might just add on, actually we don't really see a problem with the bulk of our visitors coming from mainland China due to the main reason because China and Hong Kong, we are very similar in the sense that we are both Chinese and Eastern culture. So when visitors actually come over to Hong Kong and visit our theme parks, regardless of whether they are from the Western countries or Eastern countries, what they actually look for is the localized flavor of that place itself. So when we adopt our strategies, it's not just specifically catered to Chinese tourists per se, but rather indulging and using our own local flavor as in Hong Kong and to cater to these Chinese tourists.
And to answer the part of your question about having repeated visits, we actually, given the scale of expansion of Ocean Park, we hope that for one-day visitors, they'll find that just having 1 day to spend at Ocean Park is not enough. Like even in 1 day at Ocean Park, they have not explored all the parts or visited all the attractions. So this will make them want to come back and experience the parts of the park that they've yet to visit.
What kind of incremental revenue can we look forward to based on presentation?
Can we go to the next slide? Yeah. So based on our strategies, especially the second one where we seek to bring in all the retail brands into our Ocean Hall, as well as the increase in visitorship from our Ocean Park experiential journey, which includes the development of TSW for the Eco Trail journey. We'll be able to increase firstly the number of visitors, growth rate, as well as and with this, right, the number of revenue deriving from these retail brands as well as F&B will also increase from the current 13% to 22%, and for retail 11 to 19%. So we seek to reduce our reliance on the admission fee as our main source of revenue, but rather shifting more towards F&B and retail.
So you're just changing the mix, but not the quantum?
No, yeah. Just quantum as in the
dollar magnitude.
The dollar amount is in because collectively, due to the increase in visitorship, the admission fee collected will be higher, and also the F&B and retail revenue will be higher as well. But the proportion of total revenue coming from F&B and retail will increase as a result of our strategies.
Yeah, the 15-minute Q&A is up. Maybe the last 2 or 3 questions.
Who do you think the stakeholders are in this case? In other words, who has to commit resources or permissions to make it happen? And why would they?
We understand that Ocean Park is actually fully owned by the government, so the government is definitely a key stakeholder in this entire plan. So we understand that this is also a non-profit organization, so the funding can actually come from previously earned profits to reinvest into this. And we also actually have a $500 million budget from the government to actually fund these projects.
Yeah, so the $500 million is actually related towards the redeveloping of the TSW region, and that's where we decided to build an eco trail that links Ocean Park towards the Fisherman's Wharf. And why did we choose Aberdeen is also because the Aberdeen region is a part of the project that the government is pushing forth in terms of tourism as well, and that is the Aberdeen Tourism Project. And by complementing it in this sense, it's basically a win-win situation for the government in terms of the expenditure and the return that they will stand to get in the long run.
And as for the second strategy, the stakeholders would naturally be the brands and local eateries that we are trying to collaborate with. So we will have to come up with a value proposition as to why they should work with us, and we've established that to be our high visitorship rates and the ability to actually elevate their brand name as a tourism hotspot rather than just being a locally reviewed eatery online.
I have a kind of just a little detail question. You've got these trails, and they run along or just below the ridge line, as I understood the presentation.
Yes, sir. Allow me to show you how the trail actually looks like. I mean, of course, this isn't like a full picture, but for the day trail, it will be situated along the coastal region of facing the Aberdeen Channel, which provides consumers with a great view to the ocean. And this is normally used, and why is it called the day trail is because there's nothing much to see at night. So in the day, it's actually where they get to see the sunset or the scenic, picturesque feature of TSW itself. And along the way, there's also information stands whereby the consumers are able to learn more about the historical knowledge of TSW. So for the night trail, actually, we derive our inspiration from Forest Lumina in Canada, which is basically a place where they combine both man-made lightings with the beauty of nature, and that's what we aim to provide in the night trail as well. So just imagine from customer point of view, coming down from Ocean Park itself, they can travel along the ridge line in the day trail, and when they go to Aberdeen for their seafood dinner, and on the way back, turning back to the hotel that they stay, they actually can go through this night trail, which is fully customized to bring out the best of the dance and the ecological asset of TSW's ecological asset. So it's kind of like a complementary win-win approach in terms of building these two trails. So one caters towards the day and one caters towards the night, and this comprehensive package will seek to attract customers to keep coming back.
Now, how long are these trails? How many kilometers?
It's around 5 kilometers, ranging from the escalator all the way down to the Fisherman's Wharf.
How much of that do they have to walk?
We intend to build like travel leaders along the way as well. So especially and this is to cater towards the elderly, whereby we understand that some of them are unable to walk long distances. So through feedback and further development, we intend to make sure that these trails will be easily accessed by people of all ages.
And that's included in your budget?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.